somebody's panel, you're in somebody's chat supporting, you're in my chat supporting me so graciously. And I really, really appreciate that. And so, you know, if you invite me to come on, you just tell me what time. You just tell me what time, and I am here.
Salute, 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 salute. I just want to wish each and every single one of y'all here tonight, because tonight is going to be definitely a communication that I know has been going on both on the national news, international news, and it has definitely been a subject that has been communicated on these YouTube streets. Give me a second, y'all. Let me do something a little bit different on this camera action here. All right, that looks a little bit better. So as I said, we're going to have a real deep conversation tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about politics. We're going to take a deep dive into this Roe versus Wade decision. We're going to talk about exactly why the thumbnail says the Supreme Court did it right, but I don't want to leave us there. I also want to have even a deep dive conversation as to what can we do now. We're going to be discussing conversations tonight that's going to deal with the deletion of children. We're going to talk about protection. We're going to talk about men's rights. We're going to talk about the whole protect women's bodies. And we're going to get into some videos and some commentaries. And then after the monologue, I will be glad to drop the chat so that we can have a conversation. And I'm very aware of the sensitivities of this conversation. I'm aware of the high emotions that surrounds this conversation. I'm aware of what a lot of women may be feeling, what a lot of women may be thinking. I'm aware of a lot of men that has platforms that might be sitting up here and cheering. I'm aware of some women that might be cheering, but I'm also aware of a lot of women that are upset, that are angry, that are mad. Whether you're pro-life or pro-choice, we all need a better, deeper understanding as to things that is going on. Now, one thing I'm going to say, and I've said this in another video prior to this, I said the Supreme Court overreached back in the 1970s. And a lot of people who would have thought I was crazy, I was old, I didn't know what I was talking about, The reality is it came true. I've had conversations about the U.S. economy, and I talked about capitalism, and I said in my capitalist message that soon the middle class will be disappearing because of high rate of taxes and the rate of inflation going up. So with that being said, that also became true. And so now we have a situation in which I have humbly predicted this court case. And a lot of people have argued that it should not have happened. A lot of people argue that why in the world would the Supreme Court, after 50 years, overturn this court case? A lot of people say this was precedent and we should not have overturned it due to precedent. And tonight we're going to talk about that word, precedent. Now, in the description, you're going to find a description of two content creators. And probably by the time this night is over, it'll probably be more than that. But I've had the opportunity to be on Nathan, the real Nathan Daly's channel, where he approached this from being a police officer and understanding law enforcement. I've also been on I Am Courtney Michelle's channel, where she approached this subject from the ideals of what a woman goes through when she has children being deleted out of her body. Tonight, we're going to look at the political side of this entire situation. We're going to understand the politics, but we're going to also understand ways of dealing with this in a solution. And then, as I said, I know that this subject is extremely sensitive. I want you to understand that not only did I have a conversation with Brown Eyes, I had a conversation with my oldest daughter, I had a conversation with my youngest daughter. I've been having many conversations all over, on and off of YouTube. So I'm very aware of many different aspects of looking at this situation. So let us right now really understand what is Uncle Stu talking about when he says that the Supreme Court decision on a federal level was correct. Politics 101. And I want to go to U.S. Politics 101 because I want y'all to really understand how the United States government on a holistic basis is set up. And hopefully from there, we can get a better understanding as to why Uncle Stu says what he says. Give me a moment and let me switch my screen. All right, let's take a quick moment. Our government, and I hope that y'all can see my little pointer here. Our government is divided into three separate things. We are divided by the legislative branch, which is the House of Representatives and the Senate. The legislative branch is set up, ladies and gentlemen, strictly to write laws. They deal with the U.S. Constitution, and they deal with laws in order for us to understand writing laws. They are the ones that write the bills. They are also what they call the purse of the government, which means they are there to write the laws and they are there to distribute money. So when it comes to writing laws, there is only one body in the United States United States, that can write laws, and that is our legislative branch of government. Once the legislative branch writes the law, then it must go to the executive branch, which is our president. And the president is the only one that can execute the law. What do we mean by execute the law? It means he or she, whenever there's a she, he or she is the only one that can say, I am writing this law and I am signing an executive decision that this law is now going to be the law of the land, and therefore this law will have federal penalties if this law is broken. Now, this is so that one branch of government can never dominate another branch of government, meaning the legislative branch could never dominate the executive branch, and the executive branch could never dominate the legislative branch. It's what we call equal powers. Now, what is the judicial branch set up to do? They are set up to adjudicate over the executive and legislative branch. What does that mean? What that simply means is that if the executive branch, or if the president overreaches the legislative branch, the legislative part of our government can then go to the Supreme Court and have them adjudicate as to whether the president overreached his or her powers. The same thing if the legislative branch overreaches into the executive branch, the president can then go to the Supreme Court to see if the legislative branch overreached into the executive branch. Now, one of the things that has to be understood, let me get back to the right screen so that y'all can see me real quickly. One of the things that has to be understood is that we also have what's known as federal and state. And you probably heard, if you haven't, we could talk about that for the moment. The power of the federal government over the states. Now, originally, when the Constitution was written and how the powers were, states had more rights than the federal government, meaning that based on whatever state you lived in was how that state governed itself, and that there was a limited power that the federal government had. But when did this federal over state argument begin? Two major times in our history. The first time we heard of these arguments of states' rights over the federal government was right before the Civil War. The southern states wanted the right to own slaves, where the northern states, also running in the federal government, wanted to abolish slavery. And the states that was in the South that wanted to abolish slavery rebelled. And because they rebelled, they felt that the federal government overreached. And because of this overreaching, we now have what was known as the Civil War. If you study history from a Southern perspective, they call it the Northern aggression. But if you studied it in areas of the North above the Mason-Dixon line, we called it the Civil War. Now, the second time we've seen this argument about states' rights versus the federal is during the Reconstruction era, when all of a sudden all these laws about Jim Crow started coming down. And the states felt they had the right to have these Jim Crow laws. And what ended up happening is that once again, the federal government stepped in and overruled the power of the states. But now we're here. And what happened? Those laws was based on the 14th Amendment. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But what was it about this Roe versus Wade case that made it overturned? In the 1970s, Roe versus Wade hit the Supreme Court. And when it hit the Supreme Court, they argued that this was the Supreme Court's right to say that abortion in the states or child deletions in the states was constitutional. The only problem with that argument is there's nothing written in the Constitution about the deletion of children. Nothing. Therefore, they had no legal precedent, no law in which to judge whether child deletions were legal in all 50 states. And although this law was precedent, the problem was it needed to be revisited. Why? Because this law that was never written was created. Remember, I said the judicial branch is only supposed to adjudicate laws, not write the law. And because the Supreme Court made a decision in the 70s, it overreached into the legislative branch of our government. Therefore, it was not supposed to be. And therefore, that had to be reversed and given back to states in order for the state to adjudicate and for the states to write the laws thereof. Now, that is one of, thank you, Gail, for the $5 super chat for hitting 2K. Thank you. That is the most simplistic politics 101 that I can give you, because we could take deep dives all over American history, but I wanted to make it simple. But why is this case even more, let's say, deep dive conversation? I want to play a video, a clip for you. And I want us to discuss this clip and really take an understanding of exactly what a woman by the name of Angela Stanton King said on the Real Nathan Daily Show. And I want us to really listen to what she has to say. I want us to break it down in my own way. And again, I want you to be open-minded. I want you to understand that even in my house, even in my home, I am 100% pro-life. Brown Eyes is 100% pro-choice. She has her reasons and I have mine. So I need you to understand that even here, we have these deep dive conversations. So let's take a moment and let's hear what Angela Stanton King had to say on the Real Nathan Daily. Fair use.
Can you give us a quick synopsis of what's going on? Because a lot of times people don't really understand. Too many people in our community read headlines and we don't really get the substance of the topic. Roe v. Wade just got overturned. Can you tell us what that looks like and what's going on and kind of how
well, abortion is not banned, okay, everywhere. It's not completely illegal, but what they're saying is no longer at the federal level. Now, for those of us that are pro-life advocates, we are excited about that because our first argument was, we don't want our federal tax dollars going to fund abortion. And we know that's one of the first things Joe Biden did his first day in office was he globally funded Planned Parenthood, meaning that
I want to pause it there for the moment. And I want us to really understand what Angela Stanton was really talking about. First of all, let me acknowledge the super chat. Thank you, Perry, for the $4.99 super chat. Thank you, JBWR, for the $5, as TLA would say. No question, no comment, just $5 for the purity of the love. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I want us to really understand, what is she talking about when she says funding Planned Parenthood? I told you before that the legislative branch is also the economic pocketbook for a lot of programs. And what she was referring to is the fact that many things that's going on in Planned Parenthood is being financially funded by you and I. So whether you're Let me take another moment. Thank you, Miss Sean Denise, for the $5 super sticker. Thank you. Thank you. Can somebody put Miss Sean Denise's YouTube channel in the chat for me, please? What is happening is that in the legislative branch, our government actually pays for a lot of the procedures that goes in not just areas of Planned Parenthood, but also goes into other areas of this child deletion stuff. That means if you're pro-life, you financially help fund a lot of child deletions in the United States. We're going to get into some numbers. We're going to take some deep dives. We're going to really look at this. And I want us to humbly look at this. Again, I don't care if you're pro-choice right now or pro-life. I just want us to have a neutral conversation at the moment. We must understand that the funding of people's choices is paid for by us. Let me say it this way. If I make a mistake and I don't pay my rent, and I go to you, I say to you, because I didn't pay my rent, you pay my rent. I demand you to pay my rent. Next year, I don't want to pay my rent again. And I demand you to pay my rent. Okay? Next year, I don't want to pay my rent again. And I demand you to pay my rent. I don't think a lot of you is going to feel happy paying for my rent that I refuse to pay. May sound like a stretch, but this is some of the arguments when it comes to child deletions. Something that my daughter brought up to me, and I want us to really understand. There is a lot of women who cannot have children. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Farron Williams. Thank you. There's a lot of women, all races, all ethnicities, all religions, that can't have children. And we have women that can have children. And some of these women already have children because we know the numbers. And yet they choose not to have children by this means. And because of that, there's a lot of women who's on the pro-life side that is very angry that these women, some of these women, and we can look at the numbers and say most of these women are extremely selfish. They're extremely selfish. I've been watching Miss Sean Denise, who for the last 2 days has been doing reaction videos. I think I got both of her videos in my community tab, and I'm gonna make sure they're in the description. And I'm gonna tell you, it makes me, it'll shake your head as to the selfishness of these young women. And one of them, she just got off her live. One of them, the child she was holding couldn't have been no more, Miss Sean Denise, make sure I got the number right. 5 months old. 5 months old, and she was already sitting in a clinic in Texas. Her child was 5 months old, and she was already carrying another child. I know the sensitivity of this. I get it. But I need just to get somebody to, as Nathan Daly would say, I need you to get out of your feelings for one moment and just see and understand what in the world we are talking about. We are talking about some people who is so irresponsible. I get it. My body, my choice. But do you really understand the choice you're making and how it's affecting other people? Intentional Millionaire will call it selfishness. But we're going to talk about this. I need you to hang with me. Let's talk about this. So when you hear Angela Stanton speaking, her argument, which many people have, is that if you're going to make the choice to be irresponsible, it should be my choice not to pay for your irresponsibility. That's what she was saying at the very beginning of that statement. But let's continue with what else Angela Stanton had to say.
That they would use our tax dollars to not only abort babies here in the United States, but that they would also abort babies over in Mexico and Africa as well. And so now with this overturning of Roe v. Wade, which let's all remember, Roe v. Wade was passed based on a lie. It was a white woman that said that she was raped by, I can't remember how many black men it was, and therefore she should be able to abort her baby. Come to find out, she was never raped by black men. So that was another, almost Emmett Till situation with these white women lying on these black men. And so you had these white men that said, okay, we're going to make abortion legal.
I don't know if y'all saw the video that I spoke about when Courtney Michelle dealt with this same issue about women lying on men, especially white women, lying on men about things they didn't do, and these men was deleted. Emmett Till was deleted off of a lie. Emmett Till was beat up and brutalized off of a lie that a white woman lied and said Emmett Till looked at her. Emmett Till was beaten, brutalized, received an open casket so that Ebony magazine could take pictures of how they brutalized this man. This white woman lived a full life. Emmett Till did not. And now we call them Karens. Here's your new Karen. This Karen said all of these things happened to her by a what? Black man. And because all of this happened to her, white America said, we're going to make sure these black men will never do this to you again. Powerful argument about eugenics. But as we continue in this conversation, we're going to find out we don't need the white man to destroy us. He put it in our hands and we're doing it to ourselves. And we're going to talk about it. Let's continue with what else she had to say.
But if we talk about who the founder of abortion is, Margaret Sanger, and if we just go back and research, Planned Parenthood not too long ago said, hey, we want to separate from Margaret Sanger because she was a eugenist and we don't represent her racism. Well, you wanted to separate your name from the founder, but you did not separate the act. Since Roe v. Wade was passed in 1974, the majority of their abortion clinics have been placed in minority areas, our neighborhoods. And when we think about it, this was done intentionally. This has been nothing but a form of Black genocide. Right. They began lying to us with the Title X Project. Margaret Sanger, who is the founder of Planned Parenthood and the open eugenist, And with the Title X project, they started going around to Black preachers and congregations and getting them to convince us that we needed to control our birth rate, that this was good for us, that if we wanted to be successful, if we wanted to, be able to give our children the best lives, the best thing that we could do is slow down our birth rate. And
I want to pause right there. And I want us to really understand and take a deeper understanding of what she said. Again, I had this conversation on Bernard Raleigh today. Let's argue, which is a true historical fact. The Ku Klux Klan wants to come in and lynch every Black person. But instead of lynching, what they did was they said, we're going to separate ourselves from David Duke, but we're going to keep the lynching going on. Does it make a difference? Let me say that for the people in the back. We're going to separate ourselves from David Duke, the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, allegedly. But we didn't separate ourselves from him. But the acts that David Duke started, we're going to continue. I hope y'all are really catching what's really going on. Let me put it to you in this direction. We're going to separate ourselves from a woman who lived, lied, produced, funded, and even got it legalized to do eugenics, excuse me, in the United States. Oh, but now that this video came up, we're going to separate ourselves from the author and finisher of eugenics, but we're going to still keep practicing what she preached. And we're sitting up here saying, yes. I hope y'all getting this. I hope y'all really understanding what we're talking about. I'm going to take this commercial break because I know that there's women in this audience and probably people listening outside the chat that says, well, what about grape, Uncle Stu? Nobody talks about the grape, Uncle Stu. Nobody talks about the incest, Uncle Stu. CDC and every single statistics that I checked, that I researched, everyone that Nathan Daly researched, every numbers that I am Courtney Michelle research, 2%. 2%. 2%. I know I got some real people who know how to do fact checks. Go to CDC and go fact check the number. 2%. So if you give me the 2% argument, what about the 98%? As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you 5%. What about the 95% of the women? But let's even get deeper. The studies say, the numbers say, the facts say, 1/3 of child deletions is in the African American community. 33% of child deletions is in the African American community. 33%. When you look at Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Black women are at the top of child deletions. I'm really taking my time because I agree with you, Ms. Williams. This is a very sensitive topic. When we think about child deletions, I want y'all to understand that there is a word that they keep throwing around. They keep throwing it around. They keep throwing it around. And they say, well, this is about women's health. I want you to understand there's a difference between child deletions and a woman's health. Let me say it again. There's a difference between child deletions and a woman's health. Let's break this down. If you said to me, Uncle Stu, there are women that struggle to carry a child, that's health. If you say, Uncle Stu, we as women, we go through cycles, that's woman's health. If you say to me, Uncle Stu, some of us wants to get pregnant and we struggle to get pregnant, that's woman's health. And I'm quite sure there's many women that can, because my daughter ran through a lot of women health issues. But that's women's health. Child deletion is not a woman's health issue. I know that's a sensitive statement. My daughter already told me I was going to struggle through this stream because many women was not going to really hear me or listen. But I need to make that clear. Child deletions for 95% of women is not a health issue. I want to talk about, I'm going to do a pause. And I said to you earlier in this stream about precedent. And I've heard a lot of women on and off of YouTube say, well, this was a precedent. This was a 50-year precedent. This was a 50-year precedent. Let's talk about that word precedent. If we go down that rabbit hole, ladies and gentlemen, then we have to recognize that this is not the first time the Supreme Court did what they did. And this is not the first time that a previous court statement needed to be overturned. So let me take you to a world famous case in where precedent had to be overwritten. Ladies and gentlemen, we have here Brown versus Board of Education. And according to the National Archives, it says on May 17th, 1954, the Supreme Court Justice Earl Warren delivered the unanimous ruling in the landmark civil rights case, Brown versus Board of Education of Topeka, Kansas. The state sanctioned unconstitutional. This historical decision marked the end of separate but equal, precedented, set by the Supreme Court nearly 60 years earlier in Percy versus Ferguson, and served as the catalyst for the expanding of the civil rights movement during the decade of the 1960s. So, y'all wasn't able to see my screen. My bad. I'm sorry. I meant to make sure that y'all saw this screen. Are y'all able to see that screen? I'm gonna just say I'm circling it right here. I'm sorry. I thought y'all was able to see my screen. I'll go over it one more time. You know, on May 17th, 1954, the Supreme Court overruled when it came to Brown versus Board of Education. They overruled in this case, and ladies and gentlemen, this case overturned a 60-year precedent. 60 years. So let me go back. So this case was a 60-year-old precedent that was overturned. And because it was overturned, we now have integration throughout the land. Now, I can't sit here and predict or project exactly what's going to happen 5 years from now, 10 years from now. I hear everybody saying, oh, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. Well, the reality is we don't know what's going to happen, but I can tell you this much. This conversation will not be the end. I will definitely be bringing this conversation up again. And I will definitely be taking deeper and deeper dives into this conversation, because one of the things, and my daughter is in the chat, made very clear that there's so many different things that we need to talk about. And I want y'all, let me introduce y'all, at least right here. This is my oldest daughter, everyone. It's the one I told you we had a conversation. She says, I do agree that many women in our community took advantage of child deleting as a form of birth control. As a form of birth control. So we need to talk about this. Now, I know in these circles, I know that a lot of men in these circles, they're cheering, yay! They're happy. They're proud. They're talking about, oh, yes, Uncle Stu. They call them 304s. They say that the party is over. They say this is ending. I'm going to have a conversation with my brothers right now. Let us not cheer too fast, because there's so much more to this situation than the federal government. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, these child deletions are only not on a federal level. Right now, we got 11 states that says no childhood deletions, but the rest of the states still got child deletions on the books. So we must understand that Roe versus Wade is not overturned in the sense of it is all over the 50 states. That's not what this is. Right now, 11 states has enacted laws that limit child deletions. The rest of the states has not. Now, I didn't know if I was going to do this or not, although I clipped it up. But in order for me to say what I need to really say, I think one of the things I learned as a content creator, whether I'm doing a live stream or doing a video, that sometimes it's better to show than to tell. One of the things that I'm going to give my daughter credit for was she let me know as a man that this conversation is so sensitive that women may just tune me out. Some women may unsubscribe. Some women may clip this up and say that I'm this male chauvinist and I'm this and I'm that and I'm every bad thing in the book. But I did ask my daughter to be here today, not to support me. Yes, to support me. Let me make that clear. But also, if I say anything, if I say the wrong thing, if I say something out of character, if I say something that women may be sensitive about, she can let me know what those things are and try to bring clarity to where there's no clarity. I'm about to play a clip by I Am Courtney Michelle. She played this clip yesterday, and I'm not going to lie to you. It was the first time I personally ever saw it. Not only the clip, but the idea of, do we really know what child deletions look like? And I want both men and women to look at this, because what I'm going to say, because as you know, it's a male platform, so let me speak to my brothers. To my brothers, I'm going to say this to you. And I'm talking to you as a man. I'm talking to you as someone who has never, I've seen the video already, but I'm just saying someone who never really knew what a child deletion actually looked like. I'm going to keep it 100, brothers. Some of us, if you want to call it the OGs, we went, had our fun with some woman, and we find out that she may have a child, and there's hours, and we running around. Now I don't want to have a child with you. I don't want to have a child with you. Now, I'm not saying all men think this way, but I do know that there's a portion. We reach in our pocket and we get $300 for it to get taken care of. So to my brothers, I'm going to say, watch this video, and I want you to really think about what we are doing and how we're behaving. To my sisters, and I'm going to say this with boldness now because I said this to my daughter today. And if you need my daughter to come up here and she can tell you, we just had this conversation today. So what I say to you right now, I got confirmation with my child. That's for you women who believe that, I'm some male chauvinist or may think, oh, well, Uncle Stu's a man and he doesn't understand. Ladies, what I'm going to tell you is this. When you lay down with a man, please understand that while, yes, it is both of your responsibilities, while, yes, in the perfect world, both of y'all would love that child, I know that I don't live in a perfect world. And because I know I don't live in a perfect world, ladies, I do hold you higher in the accountability. Now, again, if you don't like it, don't run, don't unsubscribe. Put it in the chat and say, Uncle Stu, I want your daughter to talk. But the reason I can tell you that is because, ladies, at the end of the day, if that man decides to walk away, it's you that's going to end up having that child. It's you that have to raise that child. It's you that have to feed that child. Now, let me break it down to you. You're talking to somebody that was a single parent. You're talking to somebody who dated a woman, and that woman accused him of having a son that was not biologically his. To the point where my oldest daughter's mother just knew that this woman wouldn't lie. She knew this woman couldn't be lying. Why would a woman lie on a man? Only to find out not only did this woman lie, but had a son who is named after me. Only to find out when that son became 6 to 7 months old, his real biological daddy knew it was his son, but they felt because I had the money, I would have been a better father. She did it to keep me. By the time I found out, my youngest daughter was in her womb. I didn't call for a child deletion, but Uncle Stu fought like hell to take that youngest child and raise her up. You don't believe the story? Mola's daughter is right now in this chat. You don't believe that was real? Mola's daughter can confirm the story. So, ladies, since a lot of you like to quote the Bible, it says that one woman by the name of Leah loved Jacob so much that she kept giving him baby after baby after baby. But Jacob loved Rachel. No matter what Leah did in the bedroom, Jacob loved Rachel. So I know that there are women out here who's trying to use a child to trap a man. I know there are women out here. Thank you, blind guy, his wife, their life, for the $20 super chat. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Let me make sure I can put this up on the screen. Let me see where that. There you go. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So I need you ladies to know that you're not talking to some 20-year-old who can't get the box, as they would say. You ain't talking to a man who never loved his children. You're not talking to somebody that's just mad. You're talking to somebody that lived it every single day. You're talking to somebody that isn't going to sit up here and tell you, I was the great Bill Cosby father. I was not. But you are talking to somebody that has been through a hell of a lot. Been through with my oldest daughter, been through with my youngest daughter. And I thank God today that me and my oldest daughter, we can pick up the phone. We ain't arguing. We ain't fussing. We don't fight. We talk about YouTube. We talk about life. We talk about all kinds of stuff. We have what I would call a father-daughter relationship. You want to know how long that took? Over 30 years. So when you heard me tell you about you need to go find your father and that I doubt your father don't love you because I know that's a lie from the pit of hell, I'm not telling you that because I was trying to preach. I was telling you that because I lived the life. Me and my daughter can tell you some stories. You know, Courtney Michelle said something yesterday. And you're going to see a video that she did. But she said something yesterday. And it really touched me when I got to see it today. Courtney was basically upset at another content creator. And the content creator believes in deletion even all the way up to the third trimester. But I can see her pain. And I can hear her anger. And I'm going to tell you, her pain is my pain. When I stand up here as a content creator, I take this position seriously. I take me talking in this microphone and to this camera and to you seriously, because as a military veteran, every word, every decision I make can cost you your life. And I take your life seriously. Why? Because I had people who did everything in their power to try to destroy me and my oldest child, even to the point when my dad died. I had someone who didn't even want my oldest child on the obituary. Don't tell me a man don't feel pain. Don't tell me what women will not do. But I'm going to take it further. A lot of you is going from content creator to content creator to content creator that ain't got a damn life experience. You're running the content creators that is sitting up here, ain't really read no book, and ain't got no damn experience with life, trying to tell you how to live your life. They haven't really been through the hell in order to understand what gold look like, but they're going to tell you about their life. I said on Courtney's channel, talking to a gentleman that I'm going to presume was at least 10 years older than I was. I said, sir, one thing I do know is that a lot of kids just came up to me and said, oh, you a baby boomer. You a Generation X. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. So I get up here and I take the verbal abuse of being old. But I take the joy in knowing that when I walk away from this camera, when I walk away from this screen, when I walk away from talking to you, that I know I told my truth. Whether it's my personal story or both my research and my personal story together, I know I can walk away and I can walk out my house knowing anybody can look at my platform and they can say, that dude lives exactly what he talks about on his camera. I don't have anything to be ashamed about when I speak to you. So I feel Courtney's pain. That's why you don't see me on a lot of platforms, everyone. Because I'm not going to sit on a platform and talk talking points. Because I live the real life. I know what it's like to have a child. I know what it's like to wait on child support. I know what it's like to be separated from your child. I know what it's like when people try to separate you from your child. I know what it's like to fight like hell as a man to get that child back. I know what it's like when your child tells you how you hurt her and you don't want to hear it because you became so hardened in your own heart. And you're like, nah, that's not me. That's your mama. That's your grandmama. That's your, and they have to swallow and take responsibility for your part of your child's development. So I need Black men to understand that before you come attacking me, get to know me. Because half the Negroes you capping for couldn't stand next to me when it comes to my life. They don't know what it's like to serve in the military. You don't know what it's like to really fight. But it's okay. I'm going to let you have that. Because why am I going to let you have that? Because guess what? You condemn the baby boomers for not stepping up. You condemn my generation, Generation X, for not stepping up. So I'm talking to you millennials. I'm talking to you younger millennials. I'm talking to you Gen Zs right now. Guess what? This is your day. This is your time. What you gonna do? Because guess what? The elections is only a year away. Are you going to tell the last generation you was too busy calling women 304s? That's why you didn't vote? You going to continue to blame the baby boomers? Is that why you didn't vote? You going to continue to blame Generation X? Is that why you didn't vote? Are you going to continue to blame some conspiracy theory about what happened 40, 50, 100 years ago? Is that why you didn't get your ass up and vote? Is that what you're going to tell your kids? You're going to tell your kids, oh no, I sat behind a computer screen and cussed out the baby boomers. You talking about my daddy. No. I sat here and I cussed out Generation X for what they didn't do in the 80s and the 90s. That's what I did. But the question is, what you gonna do now? Because now the ball is now in your court. You gonna vote? Or you just gonna cry? What you gonna do now? You gonna sit behind a meme and hide and cuss women out? Or you gonna get up and do something about it. You can cuss me out. You can call me old. You can do all that stuff. But I got a resume, and my resume says Uncle Stu has won every battle he's ever fought. Uncle Stu knows what it's like to be red pill. Uncle Stu know what it's like to be blue pill. Uncle Stu know I done took so many freaking pills in this damn manosphere. Shoot, I should be going to a drug rehab center. Uncle Stu know what it's like to have to get up and go to a mental health clinic. Uncle Stu know what it's like to starve. Uncle Stu know what it's like to have money. So you can sit here, you can cap, and you can tell me what my generation didn't do, but guess what? You're happy about this election? You're happy about what's going on in the Supreme Court? Are you going to get up and vote now? Are you going to form organizations, or are you just going to go on to platforms and just cap about all this philosophy you got? Are you going to fight for men's rights now? Because now it's in your hands. Can't blame me, because Uncle Stu done told you what to do. You got everything right here. You can Google it. And do me a favor, since some of y'all say you've been in college, please don't give me something that says Wikipedia on it. Y'all know better. Don't give me no Wikipedia information. Because if you really went to college, you know that's day one of any college research. Wikipedia is deleted off of your research. Please don't give me conspiracy theories. Give me some practical solutions right now. And I'm going to give you one. Practical solution number one. Become self-aware of who you are. Practical solution number two. Go register to vote. And the last one is show me your resume when you do what you got to do. Because I got my resume. Do you have yours? All right. That was my quick rant. But I want us, so that I can definitely drop the stream. I want us to look at something, both men and women. And this is very sensitive. But you know what? Whether the stream gets monetized or not, it lets you know that personally, Uncle Stu don't give a damn. I appreciate the support of the stream, and this is the only way I'm going to get support for this stream. But tonight, we are going to look at what we as black men, we allegedly would pay a woman to get done. This is what women who are extremely selfish do. And we sit up here talking about ADOS, FBA, anti-immigration, waiting on my reparations. We had enough baby deletions that we all should have already got our reparations. We had enough baby deletions that we should have already took over the United States and the power thereof. We're not going to end this conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to Courtney Michelle.
Do women who have an abortion risk their mental health? The provocative new study shows that women who have an abortion face an increased risk of mental health problems, including substance abuse, anxiety, and depression.
I want to stop right there. We sit around here.
Do women who have an abortion risk their mental health?
Let me put this back on pause. Thought I had
the provocative new study shows that.
Let me take it back. I've been on YouTube for over 7 months now. Y'all give me some lights up in here. Give me some lights. Give me some lights. Give me some lights. I've been on YouTube for over 7 months. And all I hear when I talk about mental health is, Uncle Stu, we got these traumas from slavery. Oh, we traumatized from slavery. We trauma. Everybody got freaking trauma somehow. But the effects of child deletion is a major trauma. Is a major trauma. Let me help you. It's trauma on both sides. You don't think when my oldest daughter was in the womb, you don't think I felt her in the womb as a man? Tell every woman you a liar, because I felt my daughter. That's why I went through the pain when I was separated from her. When I was in the military and my daughter began to talk, and I would call. My daughter never really asked me, how you doing? She never asked me, how you feeling? I want to cry because my daughter used to ask me one question. Do you know my birthday? Do you know my birthday? My daughter never asked me for money or for anything. She would just say, do you know my birthday? And I want y'all to understand something, ladies. Don't you ever in your life come up to me and tell me a man don't love his child. He may not love you, but don't you dare say he don't love his child. Because I love mine. Don't say, well, Uncle Stu, you different. Bullshit. I meet more men who love their child and want to be with their child. Don't tell me because he don't love you, he don't love his child. I may not have loved her mother, but I damn sure love my child. So when you women say, my body, my choice, and you say, F the man, is it really your body, your choice? Or have you just caused that man a mental trauma that you are so damn selfish you don't even realize? And what's even worse is how much trauma have you caused that child being selfish? Hate is taught. Hate is taught. And when you go and have a deletion, and I'm not talking about if you're sick, I'm not talking about grape, I'm not talking about incest. Although Courtney goes deeper than I do. And I think y'all need to see her video fully, and it's in the description. But what I am going to say is that when you selfishly make a choice, who else are you affecting in that choice? Because you don't like the daddy, you feel it's a choice. Because you're not in that daddy's life, you're going to make a choice. Gotcha. Let's watch the effects of that choice.
Women who have an abortion face an increased risk of mental health problems, including substance abuse, anxiety, and depression. Results indicate quite consistently that abortion is associated with moderate to high increased risk of psychological problems subsequent to the procedure. The authors wrote in the study. I'm going to play some stuff because I really don't think that we understand how disgusting abortion is. We don't. And we don't because we just say the word and just get rid of it. You'll be all right. You have your whole life ahead of you. So if y'all can give me a minute, I want to play something for you guys. So we can make it real. We keep saying a thing, but if we don't see a thing.
The abortionist uses a speculum like this. This is placed inside the vagina and opened using this screw on the side, allowing the abortionist to see the cervix, the entrance to the uterus. The cervix acts as a gate that stays closed for the duration of pregnancy, protecting the baby until it is ready for birth. The abortionist uses a series of metal rods called dilators, like these, which increase in thickness, and inserts them into the cervix to dilate it, gaining access to the inside of the uterus where the baby resides. The baby has a heartbeat, fingers, toes, arms, and legs, but its bones are still weak and fragile. The abortionist takes a suction catheter like this one. This is a 14 French suction catheter. It's clear plastic, about 9 inches long, and it has a hole through the center. It is inserted through the cervix into the uterus. The suction machine is then turned on with a force 10 to 20 times more powerful than your household vacuum cleaner. The baby is rapidly torn apart by the force of the suction and squeezed through this tubing down into the suction machine, followed by the placenta. Though the uterus is mostly emptied at this point, one of the risks of a suction D&C is incomplete abortion, essentially pieces of the baby or placenta left behind. This can lead to infection or bleeding. In an attempt to prevent this, the abortionist uses a curette to scrape the lining of the uterus. A curette is basically a long-handled curved blade. Once the uterus is empty, the speculum is removed and the abortion is complete. The risks of suction D&C include perforation or laceration of the uterus or cervix, potentially damaging intestine, bladder, and nearby blood vessels, hemorrhage, infection, and in rare instances, even death. Future pregnancies are also at a greater risk for loss or premature delivery due to abortion-related trauma and injury to the cervix. 13 and 24 weeks of pregnancy. After administering anesthesia, the abortionist uses a weighted speculum, like this one, that opens the vagina wide.
I'm gonna pause it right there. She had mic trouble, and then she goes back to telling us what a third term abortion is. I want y'all to know that, again, I believe that these conversations, even on this male platform, has to continue to be talked about. We have to begin to talk about the selfishness of my Black sisters. We have to begin to go back and talk about accountability. We have to begin to talk about responsibility. Nathan Daly is a big advocate over men's rights. And y'all know I'm 10 toes down for my brothers, for men's rights. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to right now go ahead and I'm going to give you an opportunity to come talk to me. I'm going to give you the opportunity to have the conversation. Tell me what you heard. Tell me what you think. And if you want to shout out your feelings, tell me your feelings. I thank God that my oldest daughter was never deleted. I thank God that my youngest child was never deleted. I thank God that I can sit up here today and say that I'm a father. I thank God that I can sit up here and have a relationship with my daughter. I am honored that I can pick up my cell phone today and talk to that child. I can sit up here and she comes and visits me. She would tell you there was a time that hell we couldn't even be in the same room together. But when we was able to get a whole lot of people out of our lives and come together as one, I'll never let nobody separate me and my oldest child ever again. I know there's a lot of people on these platforms who want to see their child, whether it's a boy or a girl, and they can't. I know that there's a lot of talking points. I don't get into talking points because I live beyond talking points. I know there's a lot of people who has never raised a child above the age of 36. I accidentally said 37 on a video. She'll be 37 in December. But if you ain't never raised a child past the age of 18, you don't know what and how well you've done as a father. Now, my oldest daughter has always said she could have been one of those who had 2 and 3 babies and what you brothers call for the street. She could have been that, but she didn't. She had every excuse, ladies, to be on drugs. She had every excuse to I think what y'all call them 304. She had every excuse to be a 304. She had every excuse to just drop baby after baby after baby. She all those liberal excuses she had. But she made the choice not to be that. That's why I'm so hard on women and accountability. Because when I talk to you about that, I'm looking at my oldest daughter. My youngest daughter had the same opportunity, except she could have went a whole different way. She could have did the drug thing. She could have left me and been a what y'all call 304. She could have been dropping baby after baby after baby after baby. She had all the doors open and all the excuses that she want to be any of those things. But they didn't take that route. As I told you before, you can keep going to these platforms and listening to women that don't have a man. You can keep going to platforms of young boys that really never raised a child, just giving you talking points and philosophy. I understand again that child deletion is very hard. I understand there's many different facets to this. I get it. But after this stream, I'm challenging women to write in the comments, send me an IG, send me an email. I don't condemn you if you deleted a child. I don't condemn you. I don't condemn you if you made mistakes. We've all made mistakes. We've all been down certain roads. I'm not here to condemn you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to love on you as a father loves on his child. And I got experience in that love. I want to see us as better people today than we was yesterday. Now you can, if you want to write off my age, fine. You want to keep living in my past, fine. But for those of you that's ready to live right now, I want you to make sure that you hit that thumbs up for the like, because YouTube only knows two things: what the like button say and how many people write in the comments. And that lets YouTube know that you want these real conversations from a real person that wants to give you real love. All right. Think on this. I just need you to uncam up so I can make sure everything is squared away, and then I'll definitely bring you up on the screen, because we got too many trolls around. So, I got to make sure that everybody is who they say they are. So do me a favor before I can bring you up. I just need you to uncam up in the back, and then I can bring you up on the platform. And like I said, if anybody want to come up, you are more than welcome to come up. Both Courtney's channel and the Real Nathan Daly's channel, they are in the description, so that way you can hear the whole clip of Nathan Daly when he was talking with Angela Stanton King, and you also get to see the whole live stream that Courtney Michelle did. I think they're very, very well done. A lot of thoughts, a lot of information. If you want, I put it on the community tab of Miss Sean Denise. Her commentary. All right, go ahead and switch phones, and then come back up. So like I said, Michonne Denise, I think I put both of her commentaries on the community tab, so you can go to the community tab. Again, they're dropping the link in the description. You're more than welcome to come up to talk. If there's anything that you disagree with, come talk to me. If there's areas that you feel I didn't touch on, if you feel that there's things that I should have spoke about, let me know. Salute to the Prophet of Thought series. Thank you, sir. Peace. Uncle Stu, the old man on the block. Yes, sir. Been on his platform. He interviewed me. It was a beautiful, beautiful conversation. This Wednesday, to let everybody know, this Wednesday, y'all come and make sure y'all join me. I'm going to be on Suzette Speaks this Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And come rock out with me. Let's have a good time up there, and being able to answer questions, not only from Suzette, but from you too as well, based on the conversation and the topic. I told Bernard Riley, I said, I don't know. I may end up getting my manosphere card taken based on how I answer these questions, but I answer them truthfully. I answer them because it is the real me. So that's how we're gonna, get those questions answered. What we got here? Grace and peace to you, Genesis. If y'all got a question for me, put it in the chat. If you don't want to come up and talk, put it in the chat, and I will definitely read it and answer it. I want to go back to something Lucchese said earlier. Because I am right now got a book on the way that Lucchese recommended, and she is absolutely right. Lucchese wrote, also remember that the education system has told kids that these babies are just a clump of cells to take away the humanity of these innocent lives. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, I'm waiting on a book to come, and Lucchese talk about we're going to talk about this subject about boys, fatherless boys, and what really happens. What is the the psychology. I did a video using Lucchese where we talked about in these last mass pews. I'm gonna say it the way Lucchese says it. These last 6 pews, these men had no fathers. We gotta get right, people. We gotta get right. We gotta stop capping with each other. We gotta stop acting like we could do this on our own. We can't. We gotta stop blaming everybody and begin to say, what's the solution? I'm gonna be honest with you. We gotta stop this stuff about trying to make older generations apologize for stuff that person didn't really do. I could never remember sitting up there and telling my dad he owed me an apology. But I hear it all the time. Oh, the older generation owe me an apology. I don't care what religion you are, Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, space, logic, whatever yours is. One thing for sure, two for certain. You reap what you sow. So remember, as you blame me and blame my generation, there's a generation behind you that will surely be glad to blame you for their failures. But make sure when they get ready to blame you, you got a resume. And I hope your resume don't say, I was sitting behind the meme cussing out the older generation. I hope your resume don't say, I was sitting behind a meme calling women 304s. I hope you can come better than that, because what we got going on, we can fix. You just got to get out there and let's do the work. I'm doing the work. I come up here on the platform, doing the work, doing the research, doing the talking, doing the educating. Let's see what Araz says. It's time to stop the madness and preserve our people through our unborn generation. That way and will of TMH. Amen. Genesis 1 says, Uncle Stu, sending much grace, sir, much grace to you. Vaughn's belief is that life begins at conception. Yes. I believe the same thing. Let's see. What else is anybody writing in the chat? Salute, Big Bad Bull. And what my boy right here say, he says, I never agreed with abortion. I have a 22-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old son. Salute. Proud of that. What Wally got to say? This is that mess that will make you say no to having kids. If this is possible, shaking my head. Men, protect your seed and stop acting like fools for fun. Absolutely, Wally. Absolutely. Let's see what else we got going on. Tangent the Millionaire says, wow, after looking at what he saw, he says, these animated, Barry Hamilton says, these animated examples show how horrific determination procedures are. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Think on this tube says, hold on, let me see. Says, you got the bro. The hypocrisy is insane. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What does Miss Washington say? She says, okay, I'm out. Can't watch harm to innocent babies. Gotta protect my innocence. Be back in a few, Totally understandable. Let's see. Wally saying they pro-choice, but they was that choice to know that they themselves aren't ready to have no child. One moment we give choice, all of the man when it is sex, but when a life is being formed, only choice. Yes. Yes. And what did my daughter say? She said it goes really deep. I watched someone selfishly get a deletion because the man wouldn't come be with her, and she didn't want her baby to be dark skinned. It gets really out. It gets really out here. Wow, that's deep. That's deep. Red Bull said, I knew you before you was formed in the mother's womb. That's the Bible. That's the Bible. Straight Bible talk. Barry Hamilton, salute with the $4.49 sticker. I don't know. Is that coming from Europe or Canada? That money. I think that's Europe, European money. So salute to you. Salute. Lucchese says the reason virginity was so much treasured and marriage before carrying was promoted kept this infanticide at bay. This SCOTUS decision is a miracle as it was out of control. Wow. Deep. That's deep. And thank you, Luke Casey, for the $5 super sticker. Genesis 1 says, we have so much work to do as a people. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. British pounds. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated. All the way from Britain. Thank you. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to try to get it wrapped up. If you want to come up, hit that StreamYard link. And if no one decides to come up, then we're gonna have a nice short stream. And I hope that everyone learned something. I hope you walk away educated. If there's anything after the stream you got questions about, write it in the comments section. If you like to take deep dive conversations like this, write that in the comment section. If there's anything you want to see improve, write that in the comment section. One thing RM been dropping in the stream, if you got suggestions, if you got questions, send me those questions, because my job is to do lives and to, do videos based on what you want. It's not always what I want, it's what you want, what you want to know. I'm retired, so I got all day to sit down and do research, and I'll be glad to do the research and glad to give you, the straightforward answer. What the Pharaoh say? Over 90% of women who had child deletions use it as their personal birth control, when there were over 30 various ways they could have prevented pregnancy. Absolutely. And I'm going to let you know, we're going to talk about that, Pharaoh. We're going to get into what those birth controls are. So we will definitely get into what those birth controls are. We're going to talk about the good way and the bad way. Also, Pharaoh, let's be 100. Most of us know how to go to the corner store and go wrap it up. We know how to wrap it up. And if we got to a certain age and we know we don't want none, do you know it's easier for us to snip it up and wrap it up than for her to get done what she needs to get done? I know that's another conversation, but it's just to let you know that it is easier for us as men to wrap it up and snip it up than it is for her. A lot of brothers don't want to hear that, and but I got to put the facts out there. But you're absolutely right. 30 different ways. And maybe we need to do a stream about those 30 different ways. So that way there's no more excuses. Genesis 1 says, I need a strong cup of tea to recover. Oh my God. My God, have mercy. Whomever you believe in. Amen. Amen. Well, listen here. I want to thank each and every single one of y'all. We're going to close at the back. I want to thank each and every single one of y'all here today, here tonight. Once again, the likes are free. Hit the like button. Please leave me a comment. If there was something you liked, hit the comment. If it's something you didn't like, hit the comment. We definitely have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do, people. We got a lot of work to do, but you know what? I enjoy doing the work if you enjoy receiving the work. So I will keep doing the research, keep doing the studying, keep on talking, keep going to different platforms that represents you and represents our thoughts. Remember, as you subscribe to this channel, you're not just a number. You're a human being. You're a name. You're somebody. And you deserve love and consideration and thought too. And what does violence say? Roe versus Wade was overturned. But do not gloat when your enemy falls. Right. When he stumbles, do not let your heart rejoice. Amen. Proverbs. And that's definitely Proverbs 24:17. Absolutely. I might use that in my video tomorrow. Absolutely. Absolutely. What the Pharaoh say? I'll be joining you in the retirement world. Yes, sir. On January the 23rd, 28 and a half years of service in the Army. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, sir. That Army retirement is beautiful. That Army retirement is beautiful. Although the stream is coming to a close, it is not too late to hit that like button. So, ladies and gentlemen, I love each and every single one of y'all, and I want to thank you so much for your love, your concern, your compassion, everything. So let's keep the ball rolling. Let's keep it moving. Definitely go watch that video on hermaphrodites. It's a pretty deep statement. I want you men to keep your head up. We're gonna keep growing, keep moving, and keep it going. Thank you, Blind Guy, his wife, their life. Great show, informative, and lots of homework given to do better. Amen. Amen. All right.